Sure how long we have together, but let's get started. Tēnā koutou katoa, no mai ki tēnei wāanga. Ai, ko Pounamu Skelton tōku ingoa no te maunga o Taranaki. E noho ana hau kei whaitara, tukurua nā tamahine. I'm just a humble gardener. I grow my own dinner. And yeah, I've been in this space for a while actually. So I'm not sure if you caught caught it all yesterday, but I used to midi people. That was my training, my trade, and then I switched it up to start to midi papatua nuku. And, you know, I think part of this journey of kind of coming home is what I keep hearing it, returning back to the whenua, is an opportunity for all of us as whānau, hapu iwi, whānui to live a healthy life, you know, to live a more natural life, way our tupuna did. So I just want to hand it over to Lahni. Kai Atua, Lahni.
Kia ora, tēnā koe toa. Ngā mihi anō kia tātou ko hui mai tēnei ata. Nō koa nō te Waimarie. I am very privileged and fortunate to be the kaihaka haere for te Waka Kai Ora. And I'm very aware of the many years that have gone into creating Hua Parakore and the verification system that Pounamu is about to share with us all this morning. On reflecting over the last yesterday and this morning's amazing session, it really does bring into focus the wonderful opportunity that we have to become Māori organic certified producers for our mahinga kai. And that might be a mara kai, that might be your tuna from your awa, that might be rongoa, that can be anything. So mahinga kai is a very broad statement about any mahi that we're doing with kai, and we're so fortunate to have had the years of experience, of expertise that have gone into creating the Hua Parakore course. Myself, we've had two hui with our current cohort. We've already had 2 monthly hui near Pounamu.
Aye.
and it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. So there are two papa of the kaupapa, and the first 2 that we have discussed as in our cohort of Te Kākano, which is the first year. The first one was whakapapa. I just want to quickly share how great that was to go through what whakapapa means in terms of the kaupapa of Hua Parakore. So we have some beautiful whānau on the course who are all living in shared land spaces and landscapes and all working together with each other. And we had some really neat conversations in our first whakapapa session, because one of the requirements of becoming Hua Parakore accredited is that you understand the whakapapa of the whenua that you're growing on. You know, not all of us are privileged enough to be on tupuna whenua. So that was really neat conversations there, Pounamu, in our first session about, you know, our whānau realising that there really is a responsibility to be aware of what our whenua is saying to us. And one of the things that struck me about that session that Pounamu said was, if you listen to your whenua, what do you hear? And if your whenua could speak to you, what is your whenua saying? And, you know, that was great. And then our second session was about wairua, which is another one of the tuapapa of our kaupapa. And it's the first time I've been in any academic situation that has started off with a beautiful meditation session where Pounamu took us through the different aspects of wairua, a tangata, a whenua, a taiao nei. And yes, it's just great to be here in this hui with everybody, and I'm soaking everything up as much as we all are. And I'm really excited to hear and see Pounamu's wonderful presentation that she's prepared for us And if anyone has any questions or any pārtai, I'm going to put my my contact details in the chat again. So please get in touch with me. That's my job. Give me a call, give me a text, give me an email message, and let's see how we can hoi tahi, all hoi tahi on this on te Waka Kai Ora with Hua Parakore. No reira, ka nui tēnā māku. Let's go have a look at Pounamu's flash presentation that I'm sure she's spent ages making for us.
Kia ora, Lahni. Sophie, do you know how much time we have?
So this room will close at 12. So
okay.
About 35 minutes.
Well, I don't want to talk for all of it. I want to actually get you guys to kōrero, so I'll be quick. So Hua Parakore. So it is an Indigenous validation verification system. So it's different from our organic standard. We are validating. In fact, your people will be validating your mara, based on mātauranga Māori. So we did a research project back in 2008 to 2011, interviewed a lot of kaumātua about what constitutes a pure product. What is the tikanga that goes into growing a maharakai? Because actually our people didn't know about the word organic. And so, you know, that wasn't the kupu that they used back in the days. But they did understand, they came forth with this kupu hua, being the produce, what you grow, para, something that's toxic, and kore, so growing a pure product, growing a kai that's got no para on it. So it's based on tikanga Māori and te reo, and draws on the wisdom of our tupuna. So we're not a standard. However, we did create the verification system right next to organic principles. So if you know anything about organic principles, you know, there are strong things that we both agree on. Like we do not spray on our kai, and there's some things that we differ on as well. Okay. So that's a 3-year process. And the first year is kākano. So you're the seed. You're the seed and you're going to burst into life. So currently we have 17 whānau, marae mara, community gardens in kākano stage. Okay, so they walk with us, with Lahni and I. Every month we have a Wānanga and we dive deeper into the 6 principles. Okay, so like she said, we've already done wakapapa, wairua, and we'll carry on with the other 6 principles. Now, our job is to help our kākano whānau to grow, actually, to grow in their thinking and apply it to their practice. In the 2nd year, we call it tipuranga, so you're growing a little bit more. You've had a year in kākano. And then in the 3rd year, you move into Hua Parakore. Okay, so it's a journey. You come on a journey with us. So it's all based on the maramataka. Okay, so the Māori seasons, and we have our beautiful kind of, not deadline, a live line, submission date, which is when Matariki is risen, Puanga has risen in the night sky, morning sky. So this year it's going to be the 24th of June. So what that means is you do a Hua Parakore Kai production plan. So actually any mara has a plan of some sort. So ours is based on the 6 principles. Some places will need to do soil testing. They might, if they're talking about their mahinga kai in the river, they might want to do some water testing, soil testing, and they want to attach that to their plan. Some people also come in and are already organic certified. So we want to see that. And then we also do a thing called a whakapumo, a whānau. And I'll just go to that now. Okay, so how it works is it's a self-verification reflection activity. Because if you're a gardener, you always think about at this time of year when we've hauhake'd, we've harvested, like, what will I do different next season? What went well? What will I continue doing? Actually, what will I change? So this is a reflections opportunity that you do with you and the people that you grow kai with. So your whānau and your mara. And it's based on the principles of Hua Parakore. So it informs you of your practice. Okay. Then you get a beautiful mihi from Te Waka Kai Ora. They've had a look at your kai production plan, your whakapūmau, a whānau, so your reflection, and we invite you into Te Pūranga. So this will happen around about August this year. So then you do another round of growing season, starts in kohanga all the way around. And there might be things you will change with your kai production plan in the second year. Some people add another field or paddock. Some people change their mara. Some people start to grow rongoa or herbs, or they might move into more harakeke, and they just add it onto their plan. Okay. In the second year, we start to ask for a rātaka. So this is a practice of a diary. You know, like your nannies would have had a garden diary. So it's just documenting anything that's inputs that coming onto your whenua. So you might be buying in compost when you start this journey, and by the second year you might be making more compost. So you just still diarise, that's the right word, the inputs, things that are coming on. Do you buy your seed in? If so, where did you get them from? Were they heirloom, open pollinated, organic seed? So it's just documented like you would in a garden diary. You go through the whakapūmau session again, which is good practice, especially after hauhake, about this time of year, reflect. And then also you want to have a hui called whakapūmau arohi. And that's when Hua Parakore producer will meet with you, preferably in person, but we know our people are spread out. And, you know, you'll have a conversation about how you are practicing and putting into action the 6 principles of Hua Parakore. So those are really valuable sessions because they're one-on-one, or, you know, you'd have me and we'd talk to your whānau in the garden, or you'd have Jess or whoever's kind of closest location to you. And it helps to reflect on your practice and where you can expand, where you can shift, where you can deepen your knowledge. Okay. And then the third year, here's the whakapūmau arohi. So that's that verification. Ideally, Te Waka Kai Ora wants to have people in all the rohi around the country. We don't at the moment because we just haven't got that infrastructure in place yet. So some of this over the next year will probably take place through a Zoom, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to have people in all of the rohi. By the third year, we repeat all of that again. So any updates to your production plan, where you've reviewed, you've had comments back from the kaitiaki group from Te Waka Kai Ora, you know, people like Whai Geneva, really deep knowledge around seeds. And she taught me heaps actually in the beginning, just little wee hacks around putting the seed in saliva in your mouth, and letting your DNA kind of connect with the kākano and then planting. So there might be some little tips that come back from Te Waka Kai Ora kaitiaki group that you just want to update in your kai production plan, in your practice. Again, you do your self-reflection as a whānau. You work with a Hua Parakore person in your rohe, and then you go through this whakapūmau a Hua Parakore. So it's the third stage. And you've done your rātaka as well. So the third stage is you're getting pretty pretty confident. She's been growing for a little while. The kaitiaki group looks at all of your documentation in relation to the 6 principles. And I've just realised I haven't told you about the 6 principles. But they are on this beautiful graphic here. And we're big into colours of the universe. So if we look at the purple strand, the one on the left, that represents the whakapapa. When we talk about whakapapa and Hua Parakore, we're talking about Whenua, we're talking about tangata, and we're also talking about kākano. The next strand is the wairua, the kikorangi. So it's looking at what maintains peace and safety in your marakai. Third one, the green, the kikorangi, is around mana. So mana is, it's a vehicle for social justice. A lot of the stuff that got talked about this morning is all about mana enhancing, manaakitanga. A lot of kai growings has a lot of mana in it. The fourth strand is the kowhai, so maramatanga, sorry. So the enlightenment that comes from growing kai. And there is always another place to learn. There's always more to realise and to. I've been growing kai for a long time now, but I still continue to have moments of aha. Right, I get it. Because nature continues to teach us and remind us. In fact, some of my best gardens have been when I've actually been out of the way. So there's always learning. The karaka, the orange, is te Aotearoa, so your relationship with your natural world. So whether you're a staunch follower of maramataka, whether you're just deeply in tune with your own backyard, or whenua, all of the things that inform your growing. And then the federal colour is the mauri, the mauri kai, the mauri of the tangata, the mauri of the whenua, the mauri of Hine ahuruni. So healthy soils, healthy people, healthy kai. So all of this documentation comes together. It can be done awaha, can be done recorded, it can be done written, whatever your style of learning is. We are totally welcoming of that. We do have like a form sort of thing, but you can adapt that to your style of learning. Once the kaitiaki group has gone through it all and verified it, then they do invite you to hold a hui whakaako. So this is the last part of the verification. So it's a hui with your whānau and your community, which affirms you and celebrates you at the attainment of the korowai of Hua Parakore. So I've been to a few now, and they are the most mana-enhancing, memorable hui that will be etched in your DNA forever. Because we come together, your people come together because they've supported your mahi, they've tasted your scones, and Te Waka Kai Ora person will be there, and they'll ask you to share your story. Share us your story about whakapapa on your whenua. And you'll just go into your story and follow the 6 principles in your story. It will be an unforgettable moment, really, when you receive the korowai of Hua Parakore wrapped around your whenua and your whānau and the kai that you produce. So we call that the whakamana a Hua Parakore. At that stage, you're able to utilise the tohu. Some people have it on their gate fence. Some people have it on their kai, like Kathy Tate Jamison. This is the late Percy Tipene. It was his vision, Hua Parakore. I worked with him for 8 years. Very inspiring kaumātua. He was a beef farmer, actually, up in Mototo. And real leader before his time. So he was Hua Parakore verified. Whaia Geneva, who you've met on the Zoom, she used to grow a heap of taiwa. Piru up north in all highway, Taitokorau. Like loads of variety of taiwa. Kathy Tate Jamison, she runs Biofarm. Her product, she was an exporter actually. Her and her father, she's got a whānau farm. And her product can be seen in Countdown, New World, most of the supermarkets. And if you have a little look on her product, you'll see the Hua Parakore tohu. We heard from Papatuanuku Kokiri Marae yesterday. So their whole spaces are Hua Parakore. And they're quite interesting because they're such a busy community marae, how they've managed to incorporate Hua Parakore through all of their mahi. And I think they said yesterday into their strategic plan, into everything that they do. Jessica and Joe at Papa Whakaritorito in Kaituki, they've been Hua Parakore for quite a while now, growing, and they've expanded as they've grown, you know. They started with some garden, and now they've got some sheep, and so they've expanded. Oh yeah, and that's all my pretty pictures for you. Kei te pai, you've got Moko there who's really inside of this kaupapa. So I think easy because you'll have her there. And it's I would utilise it like exploration for rangatahi. You know, so say we take one of the principles, whakapapa. You know, maybe some of their research is to find out who the hokainga, who the custodian people are of Otaki. Like I know they're my people actually as well. So, you know, that could be an inquiry. Sort of, set it up like that. So they're always learning and growing. And then once they kind of learn and grow, they're going to take some ownership and they'll feel that mana that will come through because they'll be proud of what they've learned and what they're growing and building and sharing. And so by the time they get to year 3, they'll be able to tell their story.
Sadly, they're only there for 12 weeks. So it's a rotating group of different rangatahi on a work ready program. And, I mean, even to get their hands in the soil has been the main important part of it. We've already done one cycle, which has been beautiful. And the feedback from them was that they just loved it. So, so there is trickiness in the ownership. Yeah.
That's okay. I found that too. Okay, well, stay in touch with that. See how we can help you.
Thank you.
They've been and gone, but not currently. But if you'd like to be the first, that would be choice.
Thank you.
I think biodynamics and Hua Parakore, there's a lot of combination, you know, so it's an easy kind of fit for biodynamic followers. Welcome aboard. I would suggest you start in the next round, which is like really soon, you know, like kind of July. So you have a whole year with us, where if you start now, it'd be like a bit of a mad rush. So Lahni will put the link in. Cool. And perhaps she can follow up with you because, no mai. Tēnā koe. That's a curly one, eh? And so the principles of Hua Parakore are based on Indigenous knowledges. So when you are privileged to learn about them, and you'll be asked questions like when we talk about wakapapa, who are tangata whenua of the land that you're gardening on, and you don't know, then Lahni and I are going to say, well, you have to go find out. You'll have to get uncomfortable or comfortable and just reach out. And I think that is what we want to be more of, in treaty relationships. So because it's an Indigenous framework, it's based on tikanga Māori, some of those things will come up. And they're not coming up to be provocative, they're just coming up to open us all up so that we can be better treaty partners. There is a whole section on how to be a treaty partner, and it is later on this afternoon. So please jump in there, because you'll find there's lots of people that are feeling like they want to be, but they're not quite sure. But from our end, the hand is here, no my. You're very...
Kia ora, and I'd just love to jump in and say, I think the main requirement is to embrace the journey. Embrace the journey. You'll learn a lot, and you may be challenged culturally in terms of some of the things that you'll learn. And just quickly before we get popped out of here, one of the beautiful things that we shared together in the whakapapa section was that a lot of us in whānau Māori, we have whānau who have books, whakapapa books. They have things that they've put together. And the beauty of the system is that you're going through a system of verification, but you're also creating a taonga. You're creating an observational taonga that your tamariki or mokopuna will be able to look at later down the line. So, in our last session, we heard all about succession and the success of that. So I think if you embrace the journey and you look at it in terms of creating a taonga for future generations, then it's called te Waka Kai Ora. Grab your paddle and jump on board.
The umbrella is mahinga kai, and if we set it up that way, so if you happen to be more ngā eri, like forest, like trees, kaitiaki, there's place for you. If you're more in the rivers, you're catching tuna and doing all the traditional kais in the rivers or in the ocean, or your rongoa, or even you're using traditional dyes for fabrics. Hua Parakore can actually korowai all of it. Okay. In fact, I've used it in health evaluations, lots of different things apart from just growing food or growing rongoa. Yeah, so I probably wasn't clear on that in the beginning. But yeah, great idea. We need to infiltrate Hua Parakore so we stop damaging our beautiful Hine ahuoni.
Okay, that's great. And I'll message you, Lahni. That'd be great. Thanks.
The last Thursday of the month is when we Wānanga.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, is that us? It's 12:01. I'll probably pop us out. If there's any other questions, please let Lahni know or jump onto the website, have a look at the Hua Parakore part of the page. We welcome you all. We'd love your questions. We welcome you. And if you want to join, let's get you in for next round. Yeah, so that we start the Māori New Year, the Matariki season, in your Hua Parakore pathway. Kai Atua, Lahni, you can...
Yes, whānau, my email's there, my phone number's there. Pop a text, send me an email. If you have any other questions, please let me know. And before we get kicked out, I just want to have a special mihi to my whānau I can see in the room. Kia ora Amber, my niece, darling. Kia ora Bernie. Kia ora Faith. And kia ora to all of you. And I'm sure that we'll get to know each other more in the coming months. But I just really encourage you to have a good look at it. And quickly before we get cut off, I've explored how much it costs to get accredited through the general organic process, the accreditation process in New Zealand. And I can tell you that Hua Parakore is an absolute fraction of that. And it's such a beautiful journey, culturally, spiritually. And I'm really excited to have so many people here in this Wānanga to learn more about it. Kia ora tātou.